Hi, welcome to Smith and Grezzy. This is part two of our area discussion. This time we're going to look at a few other things like borrowing players, all sorts of things really, rules, regulations, and all sorts of interesting facts. So, Sandy, one thing I want to look at is I didn't even realise, talk about being in the so-called press, I didn't realise that the borrowing rules had gone up to the first section.
Yeah, yeah, they have. I mean, I've got them here. Let's just because this opens up all sorts of discussion things about whether this there are pros and cons. Let's put it that way
Yeah,
about this. I understand why they're being done. They were only for the third and
bottom.
fourth section.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll just read you the thing rather than paraphrase it
yeah,
or make my own version of it. For the 2026 regionals, bands in sections 1 to 4 may borrow up to 2 players for any reason. Borrowed players must be registered with an accredited registry and can come from the same or a lower section, except for Section 4, which must borrow from Section 4. A
right.
player may perform with a maximum of 3 bands total, their own plus 2 others. So the borrowing limit, as from
Mm,
January this year, up to 2 players allowed per band, sections 1 to 4.
yeah,
Must be registered, blah, blah, blah. So sections 1 to 3 can borrow from the same section or lower.
yeah,
Section 4 can borrow from Section 4. Um, a player can play for their own band and be borrowed by up to 2 other bands,
right.
right? Um, just
Only up to
finish.
the first section.
Only up to the first section.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
There's a different rule for the finals, which we won't go into in a minute. And it says Scottish exception. The Scottish Brass Bands Association, SABA, has indicated that these specific changes may not apply to the Scottish Championships. I think that they are not applying them.
Right.
I think Carrie said they're not doing it. They're not allowing
Okay.
borrowing. Now,
Okay.
this raises up various issues because it seems, as is typical with bands, I know why this is being done because bands are struggling, right? And we know
Yeah,
the reasons,
yeah,
right? There are a lot of players that have moved up into championship and first section bands that really aren't good enough,
yeah,
right? But the glamour of moving up to these sections is turning heads,
yeah,
which is meaning that lower section bands, and particularly the bands in sections 2, 3, and 4, the lower
yeah.
down you get, they're being left with no players.
Right.
And it's getting harder and harder for those bands to field a decent enough team to take part.
Yeah.
So I can see why this has been brought in. And I did think, I've got to say, after the COVID debacle, that it
Mm,
was a good idea to get things moving again and
yeah.
just help out and try and get things going. No, I'm not so sure. You said that there was bands at the weekend at Nemba.
Yeah. What I saw, Sandy, it wasn't that they were just borrowing a player. They were going to borrow another band's cornet player, but borrowing their principal cornet and putting him on, say, third or fourth man.
Okay.
And so they're like still cherry picking the better players to make their band better. They're not.
The,
They're not creating a level playing field. They're literally exploiting it
and
already.
this is the point where I don't know. This is maybe slightly cruel. I know how hard it is, right? And we
Yeah.
know what the problems. And we know that there's lots of lower section bands around here, and I know the problems they're having. And
Yeah.
and it is hard. The school system's on its
Go on.
backside,
Yeah.
right? Um, unless bands are creating their own players. But I can then see bands. I can see this sort of scenario where somebody says, "Well, how the hell are we creating? Why are we putting a beginners band out and starting them up and coaching them and rehearsing them for 2, 3 years, and then they join our senior band, which is in section 2, and then all of a sudden there's a lower section, top section band say, come and play in us. It's the glamour
Yeah.
of the lower top section, and just poaching them, stealing them. I can get that. And I know it's always sort of gone on and stuff. But it just seems to me that um I don't know. Are we at a stage where do we need to say no borrowing at all? don't borrow players.
I'm a big believer in it because when you've got the ability to borrow, it makes you rest on your laurels. Oh, it'll be okay, we can borrow. And like I say, we only need a fourth man, but we'll go to this band over here and we'll borrow their principal cornet. And suddenly that's bolstering their band up.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not right, that.
It's like
It's not
the
right.
scenario we used to see it, for bands competing at the Grand Shield weekend. It was always the solo horn player that was needed. It was never the second horn player, or equivalent in other sections. I don't know. It's a really difficult one, and I can see both sides of it. But what I'm worried about is that we don't have an accurate picture in this country as to the health of bands.
No, we don't.
I just don't think we have it. I think we're sticking plastering our way through, and just
crisis.
pretending everything's all right. And I know it operates on a different level elsewhere, but I just think, are we trying to sustain too many bands now? I don't know.
I've long felt that. I don't
it's
mind
it's a real difficult one. I discussed this with someone, a musician friend, who's not a brass player, and they said, I was discussing this last night, saying we were going to talk about this and borrowing players and blah blah blah. And he says, well, I wrote down what he said. Well, if you're allowing them, if you're allowing that, then you're not judging a band. You're just judging a group of players who have got together for the day.
Yeah.
Which is a bit extreme, but
yeah, you'll get people coming back on that, Sam. They say, well, it's only two.
Yes, I know, but
I get the sentiment.
If it's the soprano player and the flugel player, in a piece that has,
it's not their band.
Yeah, I know.
It's
a difficult one. I don't know where it should go, but bands, if they've got any interest in this, then they have to make representation to fix it the way they think it should be fixed.
Yeah.
And maybe my worry is that the way the whole system's set up, and this is to do with the way the pyramid isn't a pyramid, or certainly not the correctly made up pyramid with a bigger bottom than a top. This is going to carry on happening, and the bands that are really being penalised are the lower section bands.
Yeah.
Because a top section band and a first section bands, they'll attract players to the glamour of the top section.
So called.
Yeah. But who wouldn't want to compete against the big boys, and you know what I mean? But in actual fact, yeah. But it's a difficult one. I don't know what the solution is. It's just I wish people would talk about it a bit more. It annoys me slightly.
I'll throw something in. I just hope that this is not used for a soprano, a principal cornet, a solo horn, a flugel, a solo euphonium, solo trombone. I just hope it's not for them people.
Yeah,
because if it is, it's stifling what's in that band. You might have somebody on bottom of your front row could make a decent sock player. You don't know, do you?
You could have a scenario where you've got your slot players okay, right?
Yeah.
But you're short of a front row.
Yeah.
So what you do is you put your okay sock player on third man.
Yeah.
And you draft in
the best possible player you can get
on soprano cornet.
Yeah.
Who you can entice to play with your band as a. Yeah, I know. And that's what makes it slightly. I don't like the fact that it's not your band, and I know we were probably lucky. We always had our own band and stuff. And there was no depths, even for concerts. We had no depths, and it is different days. I get all that, but it worries me a bit that the whole thing becomes non-identifiable.
Yeah,
if you see what I mean, that you don't have an identity for your band because you've borrowed in, players. But that's one thing. adjudicators.
Yeah, I'm glad you've mentioned that.
Yeah.
I've seen some interesting lists kicking about.
Yeah, and it remains to be seen. But there's things. I mean, we've talked before, and we've talked off of the podcast about bands being promoted and relegated, maybe too soon, maybe wrongly, some poor results by generally thought of as being results that weren't quite there. Have we got the right, very best people available in the box at all these contests? You know, I know there's some good people about, but
there is.
My question would be, what are the musical credentials? Are they good enough? You know, all the way through. I don't think we went through that list a few podcasts ago about, you know, a few years ago, that we had top-notch people judging lower sections.
The sections. Yeah,
all the sections. You know,
when we say top-notch, we're talking Major Parks, Roy Newsom.
Yeah,
you know, Trevor Walmsley, like all these
Walter
sort
Hargreaves,
of people.
Yeah. They were proper. What you tend to get these days is saying, oh well, yeah, but what do they know about lower section bands? Well, you know, that's like, you know,
that's a pathetic argument.
It's like saying, well, what does Alec Ferguson know about lower league football?
Yeah,
you know, well, quite a lot, I would imagine. You know, what do they know about? I would just, we need the best people we can get, and including professional musicians. You know, there's also stories about some people pushing themselves on contest organisers for adjudication jobs. You know, and we both know it happens.
Yeah. I've got first-hand knowledge of it.
Pushing themselves forward. I just think that's quite shocking.
Yeah.
I don't know, but again, if you've got complaints about adjudicators, the time to complain is when they get announced, not after the contest.
Far too late.
Yeah. You know, but then the reason you get for that is, oh, well, I didn't want to say anything because, well, you know, they might hold it against us then. If they find out that we've complained about them judging, they might knock us back at the area, as if they're going to know, you know.
As if it's, well, we've both been in the box. That's not possible.
No. I don't know. It's just, yeah. It remains to be seen. Let's keep an open mind on it. But I think we need people that are better than us all over. Always better than us. It
is sadly not the case this year, I'm afraid. There's some strange appointments in there.
Well, I don't. We've talked about this. Derek Broadbent talked about it, about how people seem to be making themselves adjudicators. You know, there's this sort of, it's almost like, well, people may mistake familiarity with a topic for mastery of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Illusion of knowledge because you've done it for a while. You know, there was a great quote I saw.
Oh,
there was, go on.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, the Olympic skater woman. Yeah. She was really, she didn't beat about the bush at all, did she?
Well, I believe she'd retired and come back. I mean,
right.
I'll read it here. A lot of people have never been in your shoes and typically have never accomplished what you have. So the only people that I would listen to are the people that have accomplished the same or more than what I have, which is even lower percentage of the population are the people that make the actual Olympics. I thought it was really profound, that.
Yeah, so I mean, what she's saying is she'll only take advice from people that have done the same as her or more than her.
Or more.
Right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include other people who have made the Olympics but haven't accomplished as much as she has.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, but these people are saying, oh yeah, you know, I've done that. I would just like to see professional musicians, people who are doing this for a job and
Sandy,
daily.
I sort of realise that maybe banding might have a problem financially with that. In some places. So the area contests, I can guarantee you, in first section down, there'll be better people than's in them boxes in the audience. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, there may be some. I mean, that's not just, not all of them that are in the boxes are.
No.
But
But,
there are some. Yeah.
I witnessed the result last year and I was like just shaking my head.
Well, I think this is what might contribute to bands being either promoted or relegated unduly, is that certain judges don't have the musical credentials to back up the way they push themselves.
No, it's all over social media how good they are.
Yeah. But I would just much rather have professional musicians.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a cost element to that, but I think there are one or two. We know there are good judges in certain places. Why are they not doing more sections in the same area?
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't know.
It's a bizarre one.
Let's keep an open mind and
Yeah.
see what happens. But if anybody after this has caused, and I know we're on dodgy ground because you say, oh, the only people's opinion that really matters is the two people that are in the box. The only people that listen to all the bands in that way are the two people that are in the box. Even if you go in the audience, as we intend to do, and listen to all the bands, we're not listening in the same way as when we're in the box, right? But I worry. I know there are bands that complained about certain results last year in Yorkshire, and those bands either end up complaining because they're in peril of being relegated, or in some cases you've got bands complaining
Promoted
because
too early.
They've been promoted too early, yeah, and it's too easy. That's another discussion for another day. We have already had some opinions on that from people we respect about how the promotion and relegation average points should be divvied out. But that's for another day. But let's keep an open mind. But it remains to be seen what how this pans out.
Yeah.
Finally, on the areas thing, just a discussion about audiences and things like that. The people who run these contests are on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah.
Right? How do we get players back in to listen? Because this is the other thing that I'm not prepared to put away is people complaining about the result. If all you're doing is, you're stood in Wetherspoons all day saying, everybody that's come in says they were crap and they've ended up third and we're ninth.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? That doesn't wash. I'm sorry. Yeah. All that sort of thing. The cost of the hall. Somebody mentioned, I saw something, and it's not directly related to the areas, but it was on about the Spring Festival. The cost of tickets for the Spring Festival in Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw a brilliant little post from Paul Bennett saying, hang on a minute, you would pay this to go and watch a show. How do you think, who's paying for the bloody Symphony Hall or not Symphony Hall, but these halls,
even the town hall at Birmingham,
who's paying for Huddersfield Town Hall?
Yeah.
Yorkshire Area Committee.
It's not cheap.
No. and all this sort of thing, and then it's. I think the organisers deserve a bit more.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the organisers of these area committees and something like this, they have my utmost respect because they put up with a lot and don't get a great deal of help.
No, they don't.
But they really do. It is a thankless task.
Well, we said before, and I think it is in Norway, that if you don't provide a couple of helpers for an hour during the day, you don't compete.
Yep.
So maybe we need to introduce that sort of thing. But again, let's see what happens at the areas, and we will get back to people about that and the thoughts on what has gone on when it has all gone on. And we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But it's an exciting time of year, and it's a very important contest for most bands.
I just want everybody to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, hopefully they will.
I'm looking tough. So, Sandy, we were very lucky to go to a superb concert the other week
Yeah.
And it was a testimonial for James Leggat, otherwise known as Jimmy Leggat.
Yeah.
What
It was
a
great.
man.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, he's what a bandsman. Just unbelievable. My time with Jimmy goes right back to we were both in Whitburn Band.
Yeah.
And I was in the junior band when Jimmy was in the senior band. And in fact, we just about crossed over at school. Jimmy was just leaving school, secondary school, when I was just joining. Oh, the stories, we could go on all night, but I mean, Jimmy we used to have, I was still in junior band, I was principal cornet. Jimmy was already in the senior band. We'd come to the junior band on a Wednesday night between 6 and 7. He would sit next to me, help me. And then we would go and play football for half an hour between 7 and past.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to the senior band.
Yeah.
You know, and Jimmy was just as committed and enthusiastic then. If memory serves me right, we both got kicked out of the West Lothian Schools Orchestra as trumpet players.
Really?
For playing football in a classroom in with Lithgow Academy. Typical Jimmy. His football he was just as committed with his football as he was with his banding. But yeah, the stories are legendary, and we managed on that occasion to the occasion of the concert. So at the concert a couple of weeks ago, we did manage to interview a few people who have played a big part in Jimmy's life, banding life, and we got their thoughts on Mr. Jimmy Leggat.
So we're here at the Royal Northern College of Music for Jimmy Leggatt's, nearly said memorial concert. It's not his memorial concert. It's a celebration of Jimmy's banding career. So all the good and the great are here, and also Mr. Neil Smith, a friend from the Scottish Youth Band days a long time ago, mate.
Yeah.
What's your memories of him going back?
Right, fantastic. Right, I first met Jimmy. I came down to Fairey's band when I was 17-year-old or something like that.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, we left together.
We did.
left
And
together
we came for an audition at Fairey's together.
We did. Oh, that's another story.
That's another story.
Which should be told at some time. But anyway, so Jimmy joined the band. He joined the band after me, actually. And we lived in a flat with John Crowther,
yeah.
John Creswell.
Yeah.
There was the four of us, and that was absolutely fantastic fun. But my memories are like very quickly. The dedication was unbelievable.
Yeah,
it was frightening because I remember somebody like getting introduced to, this is an Earth Scotsman come to the band and all that bits and blah blah. This is Jimmy, but he had been playing with Brighouse at one point in time, and he had been hitchhiking from Sandbach to Brighouse.
That's right.
Hitchhiking. Every rehearsal. And then eventually joined Fairey's and blah blah blah. But we used to run home from band practice. We lived about 3 or 4 miles from Fairey's band room to where we lived in West Fisbury. It must have been easily that.
Right.
But we used to, of course, beat them back in the car. But there was a reason behind that, because we could get changed first, get in the one bathroom, get changed and get to the pub quicker. It was very simple. I mean, there was a reason behind the madness. But no, my memories of Jimmy are absolutely fantastic. I mean, he was just one of the best guys you could ever wish to meet. I mean, that's why there was no way I was going to miss this.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have walked to get here, to come and see Jimmy.
So we're joined now by Gilbert Symes, Brighouse and Rastrick legend.
Absolutely.
We're still
Leg End.
We're still at the Leg End concert, Jimmy Leg End. We just can't gather a few thoughts about Jimmy and how you came across him. And
Jimmy he came to Brighouse from Fordens, and he had no transport. And this is gospel truth, this. Mm-hmm. He used to have a piece of cardboard in his cornet case, and one side said Brighouse, and the other side said Sandbach.
Right.
So he never missed. He was never late. It was just fantastic.
So he basically hitchhiked.
Going back, John Incleave to drop him at book services. Sometimes he didn't get home till 7 o'clock.
Jeez.
Oh, wow. I listen. It's only my thought. This, I think that Jimmy Leggat is a Bill Shankly of brass banding.
Right.
He has the same attitude. He's that dedication.
Yeah.
You've said that,
But I'll
Gilbert, I
tell-
can see that very much.
I'll tell you a story about Jimmy. When Jimmy joined, I think we'd just won the European, and we were having a presentation. But Jimmy he won't get anything because he went in the band that won.
Right.
So I thought, we'll all be there at the presentation, and Jimmy won't get anything. So I made him I found an old clog,
Right.
and I painted it a nice light creamy colour, and I made an oak base and painted it red, fastened the clog to it, and I made a brass thing and stamped on it to James Leggat, Brighouse and Rastrick Hitchhiker of the Year Award.
You know, when you said that, I've seen a picture of that.
I have.
I am sure I have.
Yeah.
I think it's on top at wardrobe somewhere, I think.
No, it does though. It sums it up.
Jimmy Leggat is legends are vastly overused,
Yeah.
but he deserves
Yes.
everything.
Absolutely.
I've never known anybody like him.
No.
He's meticulous, he's honest. Well, what can you say?
Yeah.
He is the epitome of a bandsman.
It's been a great night though, hasn't it?
Fantastic.
The music's been great, the stories,
quite emotional.
everything.
Yeah.
But it means the same to everybody.
does.
Every
Yeah,
band he's
yeah,
been in is
yeah.
touched with that. And
That standing ovation you got near the end there.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's wonderful.
yeah, he's just a great bloke. Gilbert, thank you very much for
No
those
problem.
thoughts. It's just summed up a great night for us.
Thank you.
Jimmy Leggat, legend!
So there's some great insights there from people who were involved with Jimmy through the years in banding. One other little story, and for me, this sums up Jimmy. It was the late 70s. We were both in Whitburn Band. It was the area contest, and we got third. I can't remember if it was 78 or 79. I think we were both playing cornet. I might have been on flugel by then, or we were both playing on the front row. I can't remember exactly. And we got third, right? So we missed out on qualification for London.
Yeah.
We got third. Everybody's on the bus going back to the band room on the Saturday night from Falkirk or Motherwell, wherever it was. And everybody's down except Jimmy. Jimmy's raging. Never going to happen again, he says. Never going to happen again. Never going to happen. So we get back to the band room, and we all started unloading the band bus, right?
Yeah.
Percussion gear and basses and music stands or whatever else. So Jimmy's granny lived across the back of the band room fence, right? Her back garden backed onto the band room sort of thing. So we're all unloading the coach. Jimmy grabs his cornet, storms off, climbs over the fence. This is 10 o'clock at night, right? Next thing, Jimmy's sat in the kitchen, light goes on at the back of his grand's house. 2 minutes later, you can hear Jimmy practicing the harping.
Wow.
Bum 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 bum. Oh, through all that,
Yeah.
page 125,
Yeah.
all the exercises, and I thought, that's typical Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
It was
He
never
means
going to
it.
happen. It was never
Not
going to happen
happening
again.
again.
Never going to happen again, and that was his way of ensuring it never happened again. He would go back the night that we lost the contest, and he would practice like hell.
Yeah.
And that's just absolutely sums the man up, right?
Do you know, at the concert, Sandy, the one word that came, well, it literally resonated with me, commitment.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said originally to Mark Peacock, who was comparing what's the main difference in banding, and he says commitment straight away, and he means it. He means it. He
does.
couldn't resist it, you know.
He does.
But that was it. He's an absolute superstar.
We did want to get Jimmy on, didn't we? But unfortunately,
Yeah.
there's been a bereavement in the family, so we respect that and and absolutely understand.
I noticed now that the concert is up on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
I think the band have put it up. I'm sure if you search for it, you'll find it. But it's
Well
just
worth a
it was
watch.
just a great night, and loads of people there. celebrating them, but he's just the ultimate bandsman, you know. And I've been
Absolutely.
privileged that I've known him since we were teenagers,
Yeah.
and that's a long time ago, you know. And yeah, it was well done, Jimmy Leggett. It's
Congratulations from all of us. So, Sandy, we've got to move on to our new little feature, the good, the bad, and the dodgy.
So for this podcast, the good, I'm going to suggest, is the Port Leven Town Band. There's a little video popped up on Facebook of these kids. They're called the Band Builders. It's a beginner section. There's about a dozen of them, and they're resplendent in their yellow Band Builders t-shirts, playing Abide With Me. One of the lads, I think he's playing euphonium, introduces it, and they play Abide With Me, and it tickled me because I just thought this was brilliant. You know, these kids' first steps in banding. Who knows who's sat in amongst them now? You know, in 20 years' time, they could be principal euphonium of some big band somewhere. So I thought that was a really good one to start.
Well, I've got a bad one.
Go on.
It's the incessant needy posting on Facebook along the lines of, we've had a 4-hour sectional and everybody turned up.
Yeah.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
There's a lot of them, isn't there? You know, it's as if, look at us, we've had a rehearsal and everybody turned up. You know, it's just, and, you know.
What's your point?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
It's very needy.
I think it's needy. It's either that or people are saying, you know, look how well we're doing and we're practicing all the time and it's been a great rehearsal and well done. And I just don't really understand that. Just keep your powder dry, keep your head down. I
go to the contest and put your jacket over the chair and win.
I noticed that there are certain bands that never do it. Right?
Yeah.
Some very, very good bands never do it. Okay. Yeah. I can name a few, but
you'll never see out like that from Black Dyke.
You won't. You will never see Black Dyke say, "Oh, we had a great sectional rehearsal tonight. Everybody turned up."
Oh, and we did 4 hours, you know.
Yeah, they keep their powder dry.
Yeah.
They turn up at the contest and they try and win it.
Yeah.
And that's it. But it just gets a bit. I don't know who it's supposed to impress, but there we go.
Yeah.
That's the bad. The dodgy. Before we do the dodgy one, just a quick shout out to Tommy Tynan, who was the recipient of our dodgy mention on the last podcast. Tommy was a bit put out that we didn't mention him by name last time, as it would have helped the number of views that his little video got. So a big shout out to Tommy and his dodgy video recorded while in the throes of trying to win the contest at the Albert Hall. So we'll fix that for you, Tommy. Now you can get more views on your video.
Yeah.
This time, the dodgy one. Go on, because this is something you saw at NEMBA, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
I was at NEMBA contest, as I've said previously, and I used to hear stories of percussion players damaging instruments for the band following, like timps that move all the tuning down to the bottom of the gauge. Or we all know it's gone on, but there was an incident. It was reported that somebody had used literal brute force. Now, I don't understand snare drums. To engage the snare, they bent it beyond repair, and it actually twisted. So they must have used huge force. But the bit that really gets me is that they did that, and even if it was by accident, they never said anything to the organisers.
Yeah, that is dodgy.
And that equipment was loaned to the contest very kindly by Newstead Band.
Yep.
And now they're ending up with a bill to fix it. It's not fair.
No, it's not. And let's wait. We need maybe need a little bit more info on this. We need to make sure that that all of this is. I think they have asked, haven't they? If somebody we don't know, which I hope they do. It may have been an accident. If it was an accident, though, then whoever has done it should have gone straight after they played and said, sorry,
I
but
broke that.
I tried to put the snare on and I was a bit enthusiastic and I've twisted it and I
Yeah.
think I've broke it, you know, or something.
Yeah.
But to just sort of know you've done it probably and walked away is a bit dodgy. I hope
Yeah.
that we get disproved that's not
Yeah.
the case. But
And I hope that whoever the culprit is, Sandy, that out of the goodness of the heart, send them, say, 60, 70 quid to get it fixed.
yeah,
It's only fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the good, the bad, and the dodgy for this podcast. So that's about us. We're looking forward to the area contest. Good luck to all the bands that are competing everywhere, all over Scotland, England, and Wales. And we hope that the audiences are healthy as well and enjoy the whole experience. You know, it would be great to see more people stay and listen, rather than just. I understand the pull of the pub and stuff, but don't start complaining then. If you know, if you've just you're complaining through 10 pints of lager, then it doesn't really count. You know.
Yeah, it's the old saying, isn't it, Sandy? May the best band win.
Yeah, and if anybody's got any observations on the areas that they think might be worth discussing or things they want to say anonymously,
it's Smith and Grezzy, AND, Smith and Grezzy @gmail.com.
Brilliant. So there we go. Good luck to
So-
everybody in the areas, and we'll see you next
Soon.
time.